Hey, how's everybody doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Just after Thanksgiving, here we are. We've survived Black Friday. I'm Michael Porter at Muddy Boots Code, and with me is Nathan Smith.
Happy
And
holidays.
we are going to do kind of a year recap video of what's going on. Last year we did a video where I interviewed Nathan about kind of the difference between a data engineer and a data scientist and those roles. And since then, he and I both have changed jobs and done things and kind of more aligned uh, on in the Neo4j world, and here we are. So, Nathan, you want to go first? Tell us about your year.
Yeah, it's been a good year in many respects. When I started the year, I was working at an e-commerce direct-to-consumer company doing data science, and I learned a lot from that company. It's a fabulous company, and I think their future is really bright. But then in the third quarter, I had the opportunity to switch jobs and go to work for Neo4j in their professional services division as a data scientist. And so I've been there for almost 2 months now. And that's been really interesting and really exciting. My goal in making that switch, there weren't that many jobs that I would have considered switching for, but my goal in making that switch was really to get more exposure into graph data science and graph use cases. And that's certainly turned out to be the case since I've been there. I think as a data scientist or any kind of an engineer, it's really nice when you can have kind of that T-shaped pattern to your development where you have exposure to a lot of broad things, but then there's a few areas where you can actually go deeper. And this has been a great opportunity for me to see graph in different contexts. I've worked on a couple of projects so far, and very different levels of maturity in terms of graph that the companies are at. One of them was just starting out. Another one has more experience in different use cases. One of them was more for a customer 360 kind of a use case. And the other one is more information retrieval and search. So as somebody who loves to learn, it's fun to be able to learn about different kinds of businesses, learn about things that make the world go around that you take for granted that are happening behind the scenes all the time, and be able to kind of peek under the covers there and see how these organizations work. It's been really fun.
Well, I have to say, professionally and personally, I'm a little jealous that you're over at Neo4j. I've made a couple tries to get over, and I mean in totally different, like, varied departments. I tried like a front end developer role. I tried a like a support role or whatever, something, support engineer role, and like got far enough along and just never made it over there. But that's awesome. I'm really like happy for you, stoked for you. That's so cool. And that now you get to take something that you like love and do it for a living, even more like on like a next level of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. So how about your year?
Well, so you don't see any palm trees behind me, not this year. I've made the move back to the States, back in Texas. The company that I was working for, I got another job offer, and kind of a more interesting job offer, and so made the leap over across. And kind of in the same thing you said, in growth and development. I'm doing a lot more data related stuff. It's kind of, I'm taking on learning some stuff now. I'm getting like kind of like in like Apache, Kafka, Airflow, these kinds of things, or something that I'm going to start messing with, as well as dealing with Neo4j as a back end, and then JavaScript and some other stuff on the front end. So I'm really getting to broaden like what I'm developing and what's working, and really pretty happy with all that.
That's great. Yeah, I think Kafka is a theme that we'll see across a lot of companies, a lot of industries. It's that event-driven architecture, and being able to incorporate that with databases on the back end has a lot of application for many different use cases.
Well, and so this one is real-time data, with the Neo4j connector. And so when we're firing off events, we're building that log stream, that message stream, and then you can scale it up, scale it down, whatever, in your Kafka clusters. And so it's pretty neat. And then a lot of different stuff around just different ways of data ingestion. A lot of like drop in a document, drop in CSV, drop in whatever, and then getting it put into a graph in a kind of efficient, quick way.
Yeah, that's great. So what are you looking forward to learning in the coming year?
A lot more of that data engineering side. The building pipelines. Getting stuff where customers and stuff are able to drop in data, make it work, get it in good, keep it clean, keep it nice,
Yeah.
and work with that. I've also, because I've got oodles of free time, which I'm fixing to start a data science certificate program out here at UT,
Oh, that's great.
and I'll be doing that, and
This will
just
be so
trying
much
to
fun.
just trying to get more experience and I guess more of the book knowledge stuff together. I guess we didn't mention that this whole year we've been doing our own little kind of YouTube data science study thing. It's been on hold for a little bit, but that's been fun.
That has been fun. Yeah, to go back and look at those foundational skills and how to apply them in Python. I've enjoyed that book in terms of, to me, there's the mathematical notation and the mathematical concepts, but often they make more sense when I can manipulate the code a little bit and see it in code. And I think that book has done a good job of kind of bridging those two worlds of the abstract statistical concepts, but then putting hands-on with Python and also with R to be able to kind of experiment with them and understand them a little better.
Yeah, no, I've been a fan of the book and the concepts. It's helped me out. Kind of, I think for me, it was kind of a primer to get ready to do this course, because I think it's going to be a little more rigorous than what we were doing. But I need that. The other really cool thing about like this year and the progression through is like, you're already a working data scientist. You're already doing data engineering stuff, things. At the time that we started this, I was not at all. It was just basically something I was enthusiastic about, something like I enjoyed. And our work is kind of like every day it's giving me a goal. Like, okay, we're going to talk about this concept this week. We'll talk about this concept next week. I've been reading on this stuff on my own. And then when I started looking for jobs and looking outside of like the realm of things, all of that has contributed to where I've ended up now, which has been really neat.
That's great. Yeah, and I think there's still tremendous opportunity in data-related jobs all across the spectrum: data engineering, data scientist, ML engineer, ML ops. I don't think that that wave has peaked at all. I think there's still tremendous opportunity, and it's also, if you enjoy it, it's sure a lot of fun to work in those roles.
That's exactly it. And this, in the introduction to this program I'm fixing to start, they're calling it the fourth industrial revolution, basically.
Yeah.
And they're predicting like another 50, 60 years of technology, career advancement, progression, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, if you're somebody who's out there listening to this, go back. I'll link it or something. We'll go back and watch last year's video, where I was just a software developer. And Nathan was telling me all about the kind of the journey and the skills required to be a data scientist or be a data engineer. And then, and here we are a year later, and I've got a job basically where I'm doing those things and doing that stuff. So if it's something you want to do, if it's something you like and something you enjoy, then it's totally within reach, within grasp. Because believe me, if a crayon eating, glue swilling, jarhead Marine can get it done, anybody can.
Yeah, I agree that it's not a remote ivory tower kind of a thing. That the tooling is getting much more approachable, and I think the path that we've been on in terms of laying those statistical foundations is really the right path to do it. I was just at a meetup here in Kansas City last week talking about ethical application of AI, and the statistical foundations that we've been talking about in the book club have a lot to do with that, because that really is how most of these machine learning algorithms work. And so having a good basis in understanding statistics and what they're really telling us and what they're not telling us is really important because anybody can plug in, we can find some code on Stack Overflow and make an algorithm work. But if you want to apply it in a way that is going to make the world a better place instead of cause unintended consequences, then laying that foundation, like we've been talking about in the book of, just the standard statistical methods, those same methods are applied all across the board in every data science project, pretty much.
Yeah, no, and that's that's so neat, that is accessible to everyone. One, and then two, like you said, that when you're dealing with the ethical implications of machine learning and AI, we've already seen these projects run by great big companies, Facebook and Google and stuff, and how they've crashed and burned in terms of ethical use of the technology. And we talked about, like, the invisible women, all of these things, because people don't do good statistics. They don't do good samples of populations. They don't. It's flawed from that piece. And then once you add machines onto it, then it just gets bad quick.
It amplifies the biases that were already there. But that's also where I feel like, inviting more people into these data related fields is one way to check some of those biases, because the more people from different backgrounds who are involved, the more opportunity we have to notice, hey, this doesn't look right. Something's fishy here. And, we bring not only our technical training, but also our life experience and the other interests that we have into the job. And I think that's part of what makes a great team.
No, absolutely. Unlike, like, say, just straight software development, where you're building tools to gather data or building front ends or something, to present it. This kind of thing where you're actually telling a story with data, like you said, is so important that it's representative of the real world, and that your team needs to be that way too. If it's a bunch of people who, to use the Quinn for the ivory tower people, who have never experienced anything different, they're not going to notice that story doesn't match someone else's experience, a user or whatever else. And and like you said, it's as democratic as it is. If I can get in and start messing around in it, anybody can do it. And then, like you said, then you've got a really good team of people who say this matches real life. This is a real story. This is not contrived. It's not tortured. It's not, manufactured. This is real life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. It's been a great year, and I'm looking forward, seeing the research that's happening in graph-related data science, and also the work that's going into developing tools that make that research application much easier and accessible to developers. I just am really optimistic and excited about where things are headed. The graph neural networks that have seemed kind of a little bit out there, a little bit extreme, I think that's getting closer and closer to being something that is going to be much easier for people to apply and learn from. And, just reading different papers and different articles, there's a lot of time and thought that's going into it, and it's really continuing to bear fruit. New algorithms coming in the Neo4j graph data science library all the time, but also that that's not the only graph data science team that's working out there. There's a lot of great applications of graph data science that are coming online, and I think it's going to be a big year for it in 2022.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll allow, since they pay you to take care of that stuff and keep track of it, I'll just keep listening to you. Like, right, check in with you on things of that nature and stuff like that. Of course, and read all the good stuff that's coming out, everywhere. Like you said, there's a lot of different sources and a lot of really good information. But it's all more accessible than ever. Things and tools that make things easy. Even if you're a non-developer or whatever, stuff like the Jupyter notebooks and Google Colab and
Wow.
all of these things where you can go on, use free tiers and do machine learning and do train models and or make use of already previously trained models and all this kind of stuff, to do your own kind of like at home research and work. And you don't have to work for for Neo4j or IBM or, things like that to make a difference anymore on this stuff.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. The natural language processing models that are out there just blow my mind, and how accessible it is. That's not my special area of expertise, but to be able to take a model that somebody else has trained and use it to generate vectors and topic extraction and all kinds of things like that. It's really fun and really, really interesting. And then, the graph embeddings were something that, well, the whole Neo4j graph data science library is only about 2.5 years old. So, just to think how far that has come in the last, maybe 2 years. It's really, really fun to see and imagine where it's going to be at the end of 22 and beyond.
Well, and that's changed so much in those like 2.5 years. And, now it's just something that anybody can use. You can download, you get a free copy of Neo4j. You can, Neo4j desktop, throw APOC on it, throw the graph, throw your machine learning libraries and stuff in there and just get to work. I mean, you're really kind of just limited by your machine power, really, at that point.
Imagination, yeah. Well, and now with Aura free tier out there, you don't even have to download anything to be able to start using Neo4j. That that's accessible for free in the cloud. That was a big accomplishment from the Neo4j team this year, and I know that they're working hard on graph data science in Aura as well. So yeah, there's the barriers to entry keep falling to make it more accessible.
Yeah, I don't want to give Neo4j too much credit because they're not paying me yet. Y'all are out there listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I transitioned. So the first big application I built, I transitioned all of their data out of a Neo4j instance that was running locally in a server into Aura this year, and it was, I mean, literally painless. That transfer process was super easy. We stacked it over, turned it on, and went. And it was because their local server kept getting turned off. And so I'd get these frantic calls, oh, the application's broken, nothing's working, nothing's whatever. And I was like, does it say no information or does it not show up? And they're just like, well, it says there's an error reading there. I was like, turn your server back on. So now we don't have to mess with that.
Yeah. Oh man, my old boss was an electrical engineer, and that was the first thing he said: check your power supply.
Always. Is it plugged in?
Yeah.
That's step number one. Well,
we're all still, I mean, all these complicated systems, but there's still people behind the scenes making it work or fail to work sometimes.
No, absolutely. And that's the fun of it right there. Just you got to get back to basics and then build out from there. But that was like I said, easy, seamless, and the front end runs on like serverless functions. The back end is now in Aura, and I haven't heard from these people in months. So it's that means it's working. So happy to do it. But well, here we are, 1 year on. Everybody's moved down the road to some place they want to be, which is great. Nobody's backwards in terms of work or anything of that nature. And I don't know, it's been really good. Like I said, I've appreciated the year and everything that we've been able to learn together and push forward together. And I'm glad we're both in spots that we want to be and are able to take advantage of the opportunities that come our way.
Yeah, looking forward to another year of growth ahead.
Yes, sir. It's good talking to you.